Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on Batwoman Season 2. And this will be my review and breakdown for Batwoman Season 2 Episode 3, also titled Batgirl Magic. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. And spoiler alert, in case you haven't caught up with Batwoman this season, you have been warned. Okay, so this episode kicks off with two couples in a hotel room, and we have Victor Zsasz disguised as those room service people, and he basically hits the guy with a champagne bottle. Then he tosses him into the tub where his woman friend is having a bath, and then he basically snaps the guy's neck over here, and he kills the woman as well. He then takes those two bodies and puts them in the bed. Yeah, very creepy, but it was a very interesting opening scene, and we just dive right into the action, which was really cool. But we obviously see that Victor Zsasz's body is covered up in scars, as those are his murder counts of his victims, but he takes out a blade and he starts cutting himself with two more scratches because he's just obviously killed two more people. We then have this bad guy asking a member of the False Face Society for a drug which goes by the name of Snakebite. We basically have that drug deal going on until our new Batwoman interrupts the transaction in the alley. But I absolutely love this scene where we have her try to attempt to throw those batarangs and she just fails terribly. The banter between her and Luke, especially in this episode, it was great. I cannot wait to see more of that. But this was probably my favorite scene out of the whole episode, and that was when the guy started shooting her and then she just shouts, "This suit is bulletproof, dumbass." I absolutely love that, and it's probably the first time in comic book we actually see that, like someone actually shooting at a superhero for the first time, not knowing the fact that their suit is bulletproof. And I really liked it when Javicia Leslie just said, "This suit is bulletproof." She obviously takes down the bad guy after that. But Ryan then has to go to therapy session with her parole officer, and she lies to her by saying that she got a job as a bartender. And in order to make it official, we have Ryan rushing to Mary's clinic, and she basically tells her what's going on, that she's going to receive a phone call and stuff, and Mary makes it official and hires, hires Ryan as a bartender. Now we then have Commander Jacob Kane in the Crows headquarters telling the Crows that he wants to stop the flow of snakebite through Gotham because it's obviously a danger to the city and he wants to get rid of it. And we also did get our first teaser of our second main villain, where we obviously have the two officers mentioning this guy in a mask, and he's the leader of the False Face Society, so that obviously being Black Mask. Now meanwhile that is happening, Sophie wakes up near the water in the island of Coriana. Now in my recent Twitter post I have pointed out similarities between the island they used for this as well as Lian Yu, and by the looks of it, it is the same set that they used, but obviously Korean involves much more CGI than Lian Yu. Now Alice and Sophie begin to talk about our current big bad, who is obviously Sapphire, and Alice says that she is there to kill the queen, and the queen over there in the island of Koreana is obviously Sapphire. She wants to kill her due to her being the one responsible for Kate Kane's disappearance, shall we say, because during this part of the episode we still think that Sapphire is responsible, but later on we obviously find out that that isn't the case. But as that is happening, we have Victor Zsasz walking into Hamilton Dynamics' research facility, and he just kills two people like that once again, so he has to scar himself with two more other scratches. But I really like this actor as Victor Zsasz. I still prefer the version that they had from the Gotham series, but I really think this guy has a very interesting take on the character, and I just love it. We are then in the Batcave with Luke, Ryan, and Mary, and they all watch the CCTV video of Victor Zsasz just killing those two men in the lab. Ryan was easily able to identify Victor Zsasz since she did have a backstory with him before, which we find out later on in the episode. But she does reveal to Luke and Mary that he's basically a hitman and she knows him pretty well. But Alice is then taken to Sapphire, who tells her that she had her drugged, kidnapped, and brought all the way to her doorstep. So why on earth would she waste all of that time just to kill her? And then we obviously have her inviting her for a dinner as well. Now Alice thinks that she is going to poison her, however, because of she thought that she was brought to Coriana to be killed, but Sapphire tells her that Alice stabbed her in the back by using the desert rose as the cure across Gotham. But Safiya says that she didn't blow up her sister's plane, but someone wants her to think that she did, and they both have a puzzle to solve. This is very interesting, and obviously more mysteries being built in regards to this Kate Kane storyline, and I'm very interested to see where it goes. I'm gonna guess maybe Black Mask has something to do with it since he is the main villain for the second half of the season, but I'm not entirely sure. We then have Ryan Wilder suited up as Batwoman as she sneaks into Victor Zsasz' place in order to retrieve this drive to see who Victor Zsasz is targeting next. But Victor Zsasz catches her. Wow. My guy pulls out an RPG to shoot her, and we obviously have Batwoman just running out and jumping off the balcony. But who in their right mind carries a freaking RPG in your bar? That was pretty insane to see. But then Ryan is with Mary and Luke once again in the Batcave, and they're going over a list of names that Batwoman got in Victor's apartment. Now Luke reads these names and he doesn't recognize like a connection or something like that until Ryan Wilder obviously has a plan. So Ryan says it is easy. All she has to do is just find out who hired Victor Zsasz to kill all these people. And since Ryan and Victor Zsasz already knew each other from before, her plan would work, and she has to go up to Victor Zsasz and just basically try and find out who hired them. So we then have Ryan Wilder heading to the restaurant where Victor Zsasz is, and she basically sits opposite him. She says that word on the street says that his last job went sideways. And we have Ryan pulling out a bag of cash, and she just hands it towards Victor, and she tells him that she wants Alice gone because she is responsible for the death of her mother. And we have Ryan trying to get a name, so she tries to outbid the person that hired him, and therefore she finds out who hired him in the first place. But we have Victor Zsasz just getting up and leaving. However, there was a device in the bag, and it got close enough to Victor in order to trace his phone, and we were able to get the reveal that the mysterious client is indeed Safiya. And I'm very interested to see how much power she has across Gotham, because she is a powerful person, as we saw already. Like, she's referred to as like queen and stuff, and she has powerful assassins as well. And she just hired Victor Zsasz to get rid of some people across Gotham. So I'm interested to see if she has this like expanded control over Gotham as well. But yeah, that was a very good reveal. We then head back to Coriana, and Alice tells Safiya that she killed her entire gang. Meanwhile, Sophie is with Tatiana, and she is basically trying to find out this link between Alice and Safiya and why they are so close to each other. And Tatiana is making sure that Sophie doesn't arrest Alice when they get back to Gotham, because she does play a very important role with Safiya's plans. Now we do then have the scene between Luke and Mary, where Mary makes Luke realize that Kate isn't coming back, and that he should be more accepting towards Ryan taking over the mantle of Batwoman. And that was a very nice and pivotal moment for Luke's character, as he does now become on board with Ryan becoming Batwoman, because he was like, okay, Ryan is just temporary, we're gonna get rid of her anyways, so why are you encouraging her so much, like giving her a job and encouraging her to becoming like the Batwoman? So Luke was never on board until now, and that was something that I really liked. Now we have Victor Zsasz showing up to Mary's clinic, and he tells her that they both ruffled some feathers. Now we obviously have Mary in fear, and then she like hits him with like a book, I think it was, and then she just runs away. But Victor Zsasz is obviously chasing right after her in the alley because he wants to kill her. But all of a sudden we have Batwoman jumping down and descending with a new suit, which looks gorgeous. I absolutely love this suit. My only issue with this is, and I've said this before, was the curly wig. I thought it was a bit too much, but still a really cool suit, and I really do like it. But we then obviously have a fight scene between Victor Zsasz and Batwoman, and both of them do land a couple of good shots on each other. But we then have Victor Zsasz able to bring Ryan to the ground, but we have Ryan using like her staff, and she like opens it and hits Victor on the temple with it. So she basically knocks out Victor Zsasz, and therefore she defeats Victor Zsasz. And Mary does notice Batwoman's new wig, and she does obviously tell her that she likes the new suit. Now Safiya asks Alice what happened between her and Kate, and Alice says she thought that they were close, that they would do anything for each other, but obviously she was wrong, because we obviously saw Kate stab Alice in the back last season. Alice then puts her hand inside of Safiya's hands, and then she just attacks her, which I thought was a surprise because I didn't see that coming. But Safiya is then able to get the advantage over her, and then she pins down Alice. But then she says she will give her Kate, and then she shows Kate's necklace to Alice, meaning that Kate's necklace is in her possession. And then she asks, how can she possibly have that necklace if Kate is dead? So that is very interesting, and obviously we're going to find out more about that as we progress through the season. But from this, I think that they're still leaving the doors open for Kate to appear in like a guest starring role or something. Because if she does, it will not be Ruby Rose. I think they're done with Ruby Rose, and I don't think Ruby Rose would want to come back as well. So I am sure it will be a recast if Kate Kane was to appear. But lastly, we end off the episode with Sophie and Alice waking up in Gotham City, and Alice mentions to Sophie that Kate could potentially be alive. Meanwhile, we also have Luke going over to the bar to apologize to Ryan, as he is now on board with this new Batwoman. But Sophie goes to see Jacob. Now, Jacob Kane during this episode was able to find Kate's phone in the wreckage of the plane, and he basically finds the password and he goes through her phone. Now, he asks Sophie if she knows why Kate was interested in a painting by Jack Napier, and Sophie says they can ask her because she thinks that Kate is alive. But really, I have no idea what they are gonna do with this Kate Kane situation, because currently it's a mess. Whether they're leaving the doors open or they're gonna close the doors and eventually confirm that she is dead, I'm not entirely sure. But overall, this was a pretty good episode. I still think episode 2 was my favorite one, but then I think this one is next. Javicia, once again, she's just awesome in the role. I love her as the new Batwoman. I think she's just great. However, the Kate Kane stuff, as I said before, it's quite messy despite the built-in mystery and stuff, but I cannot wait to see more of what they have. And obviously Sapphire's storyline is very interesting as well, so I cannot wait to see what Alice and Sophie will do for Sapphire. And by the looks of it, they are going to team up now, which is quite interesting, and I cannot wait to see what they will do with Sophie and Alice as well. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought about this episode. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.